but it's actually, I think, the way that the Father designed it to be, is that we can supply our own needs. We can have animals, we can help others, we can do these different things and not have to go away to work for 8 hours a day and barely be at home with your family and working to pay expenses and working to keep in this rat race of constant just slavery. I'll put it that way. You're in bondage to expenses and you're in bondage to debt, and you have to keep doing these things to afford a lifestyle. Hey there, it's Jordan. I just wanted to shoot a quick video around the idea of, is it possible at all to live today without much money, without expenses, or without debt? You know, this is this very interesting cycle that happens continually. You have to work for a wage to pay for the things that you need or want, and then you get those things, and then to maintain them or to keep them or to add more things, you have to continually work more and more and more and more. You spend your time always working to earn a dollar. We see today people will go into debt and for 30 years and buy a $300,000 or more house, and then they have to go and work. Super windy right now. They have to go and work all the time to pay for that. And they've become house poor at this point, and they're locked in to slavery for 30 years on a mortgage, or 15 maybe. But even so, you've got this massive amount of debt that you now have to work always for. Something that Mackenzie and I are realizing, or have realized, is, are there ways that you don't have to become, or don't always have to be, a wage slave? We watched a video one time with this lady who lived like in the woods and like would build these huts, and she was like, I haven't had to earn money in 20 years. That's just wild. She would say that people were wage slaves. She might actually be onto something here in talking about that. So that's a lot of what we're trying to do here, is we're looking at, one, completely eliminating our debt, which, you know, we're working on and have been working on. Two, reducing our expenses. Why are we paying for random pointless things? Like, get rid of it. You know, if it's not adding value in our family, we really need it to be gone. And looking at also just replacing those expenses with different things, like, you know, things that we can grow on the land, things that we can do around here to completely replace expenses. You know, this whole area here, we're wanting to turn into pasture land. So we've got, you know, some goats out here right there. We've got goats out here that are going to be eating through all of this, and it's going to turn into pasture land. It could also be a wheat field, or, you know, I mean, name it. It could be a ton of different things. And so we're trying to pray about and understand what does that look like? And when it comes to building structures, you know, can we build stuff that is just out of the earth? Can it be like that lean-to? If you didn't see that video, I built a lean-to out of like 14 trees. You know, can we build structures out of trees and clay and different things like that, and not have to spend so much money all the time, and get to this place of where we don't have to work for a wage all the time, but you can replace the time that you were spending working to earn a dollar to purchase things, take that time and actually just apply it to the work that is satisfying and fulfilling of what you get to do on the land. And so that's the direction that we're trying to head in a lot of this, is how do we move in that direction of where we're not reliant on wages so much. Right now, I have a full-time job, and I'm so grateful that I do, because there's a lot of people around the nation and even the world that are experiencing layoffs right now. And I'm extremely grateful that I have a job right now, because we're not there yet. We're preparing for those things now so that we can live a quiet, peaceful life. That's, you know, we want to make, that's our ambition in doing all of this. is to have a quiet, peaceful life, to where we can have animals and just like this guy, you know? So we have a list of things like, here's what we spend money on. Simple, normal things. And then we say, here's the replacement of what that thing can be. And we're analyzing those things within our own expenses, and we freed up a lot of expenses, and we're feeling that. We feel that, you know, with my income, it stretches longer and we can apply more to debt. You know, ultimately, I would just love to be here on my property with my family, working with each other, producing our own needs and helping those that need it as well. You know, so that's where we're working towards, and it brings this satisfaction and this hope that, you know, that can happen. And I believe it used to be that way for a lot of people. And honestly, what's wild as well is, you know, you look at a third world country and you think, oh, they're poor. Like, even being a third world country, that's how we've been conditioned to think of it as. But yet those people, they've got community, they know how to survive, they can do anything. And like, we think that they're poor. Or even I know people that they grew up on a farm and they grew up gardening and they grew up with animals and all this stuff, and they said, and we were poor. And I look and I'm like, were you poor, or were you just told that you were poor? Because looking at how you lived, you could survive anything. You had peace, you had family, you had friends, you could grow your own food, you had animals. How satisfying. But for some reason, we're conditioned that is poor. But it's actually, I think, the way that the Father designed it is that we can supply our own needs. We can have animals, we can help others, we can do these different things and not have to go away to work for 8 hours a day and barely be at home with your family and working to pay expenses and working to keep in this rat race of constant just slavery. I'll put it that way. You're in bondage to expenses and you're in bondage to debt, and you have to keep doing these things to afford a lifestyle. But my goodness, we work hard out here and it's satisfying and it's amazing and it's a blessing. And so that's our hope, that's our ambition with a quiet, peaceful life, is to get to that place where we can live and be satisfied and not have any need of anyone, but can mind our own, work with our hands, help others, just live a fulfilling life in the way that we believe we were designed to live.